All right, good evening and welcome to the Temecula Community Services Commission regular meeting of November 8th. I'm Chair Eric Levine and I now call this meeting to order. As always, we'll start with our flag salute, and Commissioner Adi, will you lead us, please? Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner. May we have the roll call, please?
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. We will begin with the roll call. Commissioner Krastevsky. Commissioner Adi.
Here.
Vice Chair Sizemore. Here. And Chairperson Levine.
And I am here.
Thank you.
And do we have public comments this evening?
No, we have no public comments this evening.
Then we shall dispense with the reading and move directly into division reports. Who do we have this evening?
We will have Cassandra Hargett presenting the first half of the division reports this evening.
Excellent, Cassandra. Ready when you are.
One moment.
It's that newfangled technology. I should know, I'm in the business.
Good evening, my name is Cassandra Hargett and I'll be presenting the first part of the division reports. Aquatics. First Responders Day was October 28th. Lap swimmers who are or were first responders received a free swim code. Staff and patrons were also able to sign a thank you board dedicated to first responders. Staff trained to care for sudden illnesses, including cardiac and diabetic emergencies, and administering emergency oxygen. Water exercise classes are currently held 6 days a week and continue to fill up on the first day of registration each month. 6 students participated in Session 2 lifeguard courses. Upcoming classes will be held in the next few months. Next slide. Fall classes are in full swing, and October saw over 731 participants in contract class programs. We've added additional spaces to teen screenwriting, basketball, and karate to accommodate more students. Upcoming are the Thanksgiving break camps that will include a basketball camp and Thanksgiving baking camps. On Saturday, October 23rd, the Temecula Skate Park hosted its first BMX Jam event. This sold-out event was held from 9 to 11 a.m. and was a time for the 17 and under BMX community to ride their bikes and meet others in the BMX community. Special thanks to our partner for this event, Neighborhood Drop-In, and prizes and giveaways were donated from the Secret BMX Shop, Old Town Bicycle Company, and Skater Bros. Jeff Waddleton emceed the event and light refreshments were provided. Shout out to Commissioner Sizemore for attending. Next session will be a skate jam on Saturday, November 20th. Teen Zone is open weekdays from 12 to 6:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 5. Cost is $1 for an annual membership and is available to all middle and high school students. October highlights include pumpkin painting, decorating the Teen Zone for Halloween, making chocolate-covered apples, iced mochas, apple cider, and playing games like bobbing for donuts. All year, the Teen Zone has curated a monthly theme box with a new theme featured each month. Each box has been sold out, includes a variety of crafts, activities, and games related to the month's theme. Starting in September, teens could visit the Teen Zone to open their boxes and do the activities together with new friends. Prior to that, the staff led virtual meetups until August 2021. October's box was Halloween-themed and included a custom Halloween-themed sticker, Halloween candy house kit, pumpkin craft, crossword puzzle, and spooky I Spy card. For homeless outreach, October saw 4 street exits with a total of 65 exits in 2021 so far. The HOT team was able to reunite an individual with his family in Marietta. Another female client was working with SWAG and the Help Center, who suffers from mental health issues and was accepted into permanent housing at Orange County Rescue Mission after she had been forced out of a room she was renting in Temecula. She is very excited to start the program. 7 illegal encampments were identified and 11 were removed. Staff collaborated with code enforcement to help assist property owners with multiple illegal encampment issues on a private lot behind Ridge Park Drive. Contractors are planning to start removing illegal encampments this week. Next. Participants engaged and connected with friends and city staff during the High Hopes Halloween event on Friday, October 1st. Participants came in costume and each person had their moment in the spotlight on stage before dancing the night away with music and pizza. The Eagle Soar Playground and Splash Pad Special Needs Social Skills Program provides a safe, integrative, and stress-free environment where children with special needs can play and socialize with one another. Fall hours are from 8 to 11 on the second Saturday of each month, ending October 9th, and on Wednesdays, ending October 13th. The fall program began September 2nd for viticulture and ended October 19th. We had a full season of learning about horticulture through gardening and viticulture through excursions to local wineries and vineyards, and we ended the session with a completion ceremony at Friendship Park. The Youth Advisory Council has been busy in the community in October. They assisted with ESP program, attended the financial literacy series, and volunteered at the Halloween Carnival. Our students are excited to be back in person and are looking forward to serving the community. The Visual Arts program is an engaging arts and crafts program led by staff and intended for adults with special needs. Each week, participants create new and exciting works of art, all while forging community through socializing together. This program was held on Thursdays and ended November 4th. On October 11th, the Veterans of Foreign Wars Motorcycle Club of California hosted their annual spaghetti luncheon at the Senior Center. The VFW prepared and serviced over 60 lunches to seniors, refreshments, and to-go dinners. Each year, the VFW steps in to serve our community and seniors on Columbus Day when the county meals program is closed. On October 21st, we hosted our annual Senior Halloween Luncheon. Seniors had a blast participating in a costume contest, dancing, and games. The MPSC choir kicked off the event with Halloween music and a special performance of Thriller by staff member Jordan Wilson. Seniors were treated with a homemade chicken tortilla soup prepared by staff member Cecilia Solis. The Mary Phillips Senior Center was designated a cool center during the summer for anyone needing temporary relief from the heat. The last day of the cool center was October 15th. There was a total of 1,437 participants that took respite from the heat at our cool center. Over 20,000 items were circulated in the month of October. We had many in-person programs, including History's Dark Side, Teens Teaching Tech, Lawyers in the Library, Black Cat Art, and a teen council meeting. There were 26 story times with 797 attendees and 9 family programs with 293 attendees. Local recognized youth leagues are going into their playoffs and end of season. Monthly field rentals continue to be at full capacity, especially with the time change. Tournaments this month include DC SoCal Baseball, TCS Baseball, Just Wanna Play Ball, DC SoCal Baseball, and SWSC Soccer. Patrols are continuing before and after school by our park rangers. Sports activities are in full swing, and parks are demanding more patrols and opening and closing gates. Less activity in the parks during the evening due to the cooler weather and the time change. And rangers continue to be park ambassadors and remind park users of the Temecula Municipal Code. This concludes my portion of the report.
So Commissioners, before we do move on to the next report, we're going to switch things up a little this time, and we have a special guest, Stacy Fox, Maintenance Superintendent from our Public Works Department, who's going to present the Parks and Facilities slide, and he also has, I think, some additional information that he wanted to go over too.
Very good, thank you. Welcome, Stacy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Next slide.
Is that the slide that you're going to be presenting and then going on to the next
Oh,
one?
okay,
Stacy?
sorry. All right, just here tonight, just give you a couple updates on some park projects going on, coming up. Our first update is on the Eagle Source splash pad, which will be seeing a renovation. We'll be replacing all the spray deck equipment, and this will conclude a two-phase facility upgrade to the splash pad. So the next project we have coming on, starting on November 15th, is the Friendship Park Flood Control Channel Reconstruction. This is a contractor's coming in and installing a wall along the edge of the soccer field to protect the park from the adjacent channel. This does impact the park. The soccer field will be closed down during this period of construction, and a portion of the parking lot will be closed off from the public during this. The next project is Long Canyon Creek Park. We have a mini pump track that will be going at this park. We plan on beginning construction in early January. Construction will last about 2 weeks. There's a little bit of impact on the park, but the park will remain open during this construction. And then we have two new Adopt a Park programs. There's two groups. One is the Temecula Valley Garden Club and the Sierra Club, who will both be providing designs and plant materials for a native garden. Sierra Club will be doing a design for Winchester Creek Park, and the Temecula Valley Garden Club will be doing one at Sam Hicks Park. And these native gardens will provide the public access, or to be able to see native plant materials in a landscape setting. So, kind of excited about that project. It's a little different than our typical Adopt a Park program. So. And then finally, our newest sports park coming online, the Sports Ranch at Somers Bend. Just a little update and a little aerial view of the park construction as of last week. As you can see, we got a just under 22-acre sports park that is under construction, and we're getting really close to be opening this park, hopefully by February of 2022. This park will serve the community in providing, 2 full-size soccer fields, 2 full-size baseball fields, open space for events, playground, ample parking, different walking paths throughout the park. So it'll be a great added amenity to the city. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
First, since we got Somers Bend up, you can see the park and ride right across the street.
Yes, to the
Do you have
northwest.
any information on when that park and ride will be open?
I do not. I know it's mostly constructed, so I think it'd be probably within the next month or so.
Again, on that, I think you can just kind of drive in there right now. I don't think there are any signs saying no parking or anything.
The
right?
road is open, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That-
So it's on Nicholas and Butterfield, and it's up in, if you're looking at that picture right now, it's in the right-hand corner.
Top right, yeah.
Yeah. And that's Nicholas Road, and you can see the little park and ride, I think. And I know that we've talked about this before, but that I think as Nicholas Road gets built out, the plans are for a trail extending the Santa Gertrudis Creek, and then that park and ride becomes kind of a trailhead parking lot too.
Exactly,
So-
yeah, the new phase of the Nicholas Road will, yeah, punch through and tie into San Gertrudis, and then into Summers Bend area and that
Right,
community trails as
which
well.
again has some great trails, so it's a super spot for a trailhead.
Right,
You mentioned the Adopt-A-Park, and they're doing the native gardens in those two parks. I heard a rumor that we were considering doing native gardens in many of our parks. Is that true?
with, as these volunteers group, participate in the
Okay.
Adopt-A-Park program, yeah,
So we're open to that.
we're open to
If
that.
those adoptees decide to pursue something like that.
Right, part of their park adoption is besides providing the design and donating the plant materials, that they're gonna maintain those gardens, just as other
And-
groups pick up trash and.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it before at commission that it would be awesome to have those native plant gardens along our trails and the, starting off with the planned loop trail, which is, continuing to get connected with the undercrossing and the improvements in downtown. But so it helps me have an understanding if the community gets involved and adopts segments of that trail, they can probably pursue native gardens too.
Right,
Okay, great. Thanks, Stacy.
you're welcome.
Vice Chair?
Did I hear you correctly that it's only 2 weeks for construction of the mini pump track?
Approximately 2 weeks
Okay, wow,
for the actual construction of the pump track, so.
okay. Do we have a date for the construction of the Wolf Creek one?
And we do not, but
Okay,
tentatively later next year.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for Wolf Creek, would that be tied into the pickleball courts also? Will they do that construction at the same time? Or-
No, we're planning construction after the pickleball court.
So pickleball first,
Yeah,
then
to
the...
not
then
impact the
next.
park so much with two different
Great.
projects going on at once.
Okay.
so.
All right, thank you.
Priority is the pickleball courts there, so.
I appreciate you asking the Adopt-A-Park. And it's a great idea, just to continue to foster the idea of the native plants. At Summers Bend, I noticed the soccer fields pretty prominently. Will those fields be able to be rented out, kind of like they are at Birdsall Park? And will they be able to be used for other than soccer, if so?
They are strictly lined for soccer, and I believe the plan is to keep them as like a rental field, just as Birdsall.
Okay.
Chairperson Levine, just to speak on the rental part, we're actually working with our sports division. Our sports division is actually doing a fee study right now, and we'll be presenting a fee structure for that site to rent it out as well.
Great. Yeah, I was just curious, having used Birdsall Park for many years for football and things like that, if we would be entertaining other types of activities on those fields, so. Okay. And would that be turf?
The soccer fields are turf, yeah, synthetic.
Great. Excited to get another sports park here. Maybe another one at some point, too. Anything else for Mr. Fox?
Great.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you, Stacy. Cassandra, anything additional for you?
Nope, that concludes my report.
All right. Questions for Cassandra?
I do not have any questions for Cassandra's great report. Thank you.
All right. Vice Chair?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions. Do we have any figures for the number of students that are using our teen zone, like either on a daily or weekly basis?
I don't have the exact numbers. The numbers have been increasing,
Okay.
since they've opened it up, but the attendance there is usually pretty minimal. We'll
Okay.
have, a few here and there. Sometimes we can have, a handful of kids in there, but it's never usually more than that, though.
Okay, now I'm gonna, my next question is, would we have a breakdown? Do we know, do we have more middle schoolers using it versus high schoolers? Is there one of those groups dominate?
That's a question I'll have to look into and get back to you. From my experience, when I've been over there, it's typically high schoolers that make up the majority of it, but that has been a couple years since I've really seen the program in
Okay.
action, so I will find that out and get back to you.
Okay, just curious. And I had a question on the library. What is the Lawyers in the Library program?
So what that is, they can use a room there, and it's a place for them to do legal advice, meet with clients, and things like that. So they use one of the back rooms typically at the library for that.
Okay. I'll make this, final question. Do we have any Thanksgiving meals that we're serving at the Mary Phillips Center?
I don't believe there is a program specifically for Thanksgiving. There may be, one of the groups will use the NPR there for that, but no organized through the senior center outside of the typical senior meal program that they have.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I think that's usually a Rotary Club, and a Julie No is usually
Okay.
ahead of that.
All right, I'll ask her. All right, thank you.
And thank you, Cassandra. Outstanding report. Continue to be in awe of all the wonderful things done around the city. Kudos to Vice Chair Sizemore for showing up at the BMX Jam. Were you jamming?
I was, it was really good. I have to say, I'm very impressed with the partnership from Neighborhood Drop-In. They are really just getting in there and really working to help promote the extreme action sports in our city.
Nice.
And I really enjoyed getting to see them firsthand, watching them. I know nothing about skating and BMXing and all that stuff, so it's been great. Adam from Neighborhood Drop-In is usually there, and he gave me some education on BMXing, giving me a little bit more education for next month for skate, because I'm like, skate jam, is that like roller skates? What's the terminology? So skate means skateboard.
Okay.
Inline means, skating, roller skates. Or quads. If they talk about quads, that's roller skates too.
Oh, wow.
So I'm learning. And I was, one of the things that really touched my heart is they gave away a BMX bike to a youth that was there at the BMX Jam.
Neighborhood drop-in?
At the Neighborhood Drop-In, gave them away a BMX bike. Now, I asked him, why did you choose that boy? They didn't draw tickets, they watched during the event. And there was one, they found who needed it. There was a boy there, one boy was there with a mountain bike. He was riding a mountain bike. And you can't do BMX stuff on a mountain bike, but he sure was trying. And he'd fall, and he'd have a good attitude, he'd get back up, and he wanted to learn, and he'd ask questions, and he'd try to do his best. And so they gave him a BMX bike, and kid was so happy and so excited, and they got him fitted on it, and he went back out there. And actually, I was on Instagram, because I follow Neighborhood Drop-In on Instagram now, and this kid started an Instagram account, like BMX, I forget his name, I think Dylan, BMX Dylan. So he's, right person got that. So I've been really impressed with watching Neighborhood Drop-In. So I will be going to the skate jam because I want to learn about skating. And it's amazing the things they're doing on these bicycles, and they're not afraid.
Yeah.
They're jumping up in the air and spinning around, and
You gotta start that stuff young.
yeah.
Yeah, I tried to learn to ski when I was 18, and I think that was too late.
Yeah, so I really appreciate Adam at Neighborhood Drop-In answering my questions and learning about it.
Well, I appreciate the report out.
Yeah.
And, again, thank you for being there and representing. Very cool. All right. We have Miss Tracy. It's good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you. Good evening, Commissioners. I'll begin with our gallery exhibitions that we held in the last month. The Civic Center Gallery featured fiber arts by Jennifer Sundstrom. Her unique method of taking brightly colored tufts of wool and a barbed needle to mimic the fluidity and natural color blending associated with watercolor work were featured and were really incredible if you had a chance to see them. The Rotunda Gallery at the Temecula Valley Museum featured Sasha Hope's introspective exhibition, Emotions, a conversation about mental health that ran through the end of the month. Known for her cheerful and vibrant paintings, her style ranges from pop art to abstraction to expressionism, but for this exhibit, she used her thoughts as art as a communication tool to express feelings of joy or thoughts, that sort of thing. And we were pleased to offer it as a collection to encourage discussion about mental health treatment and suicide prevention. She had faces on the wall, and she had a little sheet where people could fill out their impression of what the emotion was showing on the face. She didn't label them. And so it was interactive, and people could decide if the person was joyful or sad or whatever. It was very interesting. The gallery at the Merck, we'll talk about the Merck in a moment, but the gallery at the Ronald H. Roberts Temecula Public Library featured an exhibition of Julie Munson's favorite things, which are her love of farm animals and outdoors with horses and succulents. And she's a relatively new artist, but she was taught by a Temecula artist who's actually famous, Dawn Roth, and it shows that she's really learning from a master because her artwork is beautiful. The gallery at the Merck featured On the Edge Wildlife Conservation Art Series from painter Megan Elizabeth Miller. Her passion for art comes from the natural world and her fight against animal extinction, so she creates these stunning, realistic paintings of endangered animals, and when she sells a painting, she donates the money to the cause that supports that endangered animal. Really wonderful. And then the fourth annual Ralph Love Plein Air reception is this Friday, so we hope you'll all attend. It's a free public reception, includes live music and refreshments, and the awards, which will be announced by Commissioner Sizemore. Thank you, Commissioner, for doing that. And thanks to Commissioner Sizemore and Kristevsky, who helped judge the art this year. It will be a nice event, and hopefully a lot of artists will be there, so please join us for that. The Community Outreach and Relations team wrapped up filming their community services highlights for 2021 and premiered the video at the State of the City, Temecula, highlighting just some of our many accomplishments in our department, TCSD. We are currently showing the video on Facebook and Instagram, and so far have received over 1,600 views. The team is also just completing the first of an alumni series, which features current Temecula City Council members checking in with past council members or past staff and officials, just to see how they're doing. And the first episode features Mayor Marianne Edwards checking in with former council member and Mayor Jeff Comachero. And that video will air at a council meeting in November. The team also filmed 2 episodes of Around and About the Park Adventure series, with episode 14 featuring Butterfield Stage Park and 15 featuring Rotary Park. Both will also air in November. We're pleased to report that they received 2 generous sponsors for this year's Halloween Carnival. Sport Clips of Temecula provided us with a $500 cash sponsorship, and Temecula Chick-fil-A donated 20 digital gift cards and a large gift basket to the winners of the Halloween costume contest. The estimated value of both of those sponsorships was $750. And upcoming programming will include honoring the 36 new military veteran pavers at this year's Patriotic Salute to Veterans event. The Path of Honor program executive director and veteran, Mr. Michael Burkamshaw, will be in attendance to read the honorable names. And we will also be presenting Sun City Graphic with a plaque of appreciation for their 18 years of dedicated service to engraving the pavers that line the Path of Honor. In November, the team will also be working on the next episode of Around and About Temecula, the next alumni video series for City Council, episode 16 of the Park series, and they're creating a special Sister City video to send to our friends in Dyson, Japan. The community services social media pages continue to see growth month after month with an overall monthly impact of 82,203, which is an increase of 93%. The individual statistics for each platform you can read on the slide, but you can see the increases in likes, follows, content, interactions, and reach. But these are largely due to the quality of our reels that our team is producing, and they're doing very well. Reels are important because they're short videos that are distributed through Instagram, and they're a key tool to catching and creating a larger audience. Beyond those that follow our account, it's the reels that follow an algorithm that brings our content to more accounts than those that follow us. And they continue to get pushed through the algorithm for weeks after the creation instead of just static posts that show once. So it's a really important tool. And the reels alone account for almost 30,000 reaches this past month. Our most popular post and reel were about the TCSD Halloween Carnival. The reel featured cast members from youth musical theaters Footloose doing the trendy, spooky, scary skeleton dance, and they were able to cross-promote their performance of Footloose, which will be in January. Special events are back in a big way. The team is very busy, starting off with Art Off the Walls on October 1st at the Lot on Main, and assisting with the sponsored event Old Town Temecula Outdoor Quilt Show on October 2nd. They also created this special, very moving remembrance flag ceremony on October 21st. That's the COVID remembrance flag ceremony. And there were more than 300 attendees at that event. And finished the month with a huge turnout at the Temecula, the Halloween Carnival, the first one held in Old Town Temecula. And there were an estimated 8,000 participants. It was wonderful. Picnic shelter rentals are also up with 33 rentals of approximately 1,600 patrons. November is also going to be as busy. Just this past weekend began with the Temecula Rod Run, which was a sold-out event with more than 450 cars participating. With the Friday night cruise and the Saturday show and shine, the weather was amazing, and everyone had a great time. The Patriotic Salute to Veterans will take place this Sunday, November 11th, at the Civic Center Quad. Art Off the Walls on the 12th, and the Lot on Main. And then the month ends with the Christmas tree lighting at the Temecula Duck Pond on November 29th. The Old Town Temecula Theater celebrated its 16th anniversary on October 3rd with a special performance by Grammy Award-winning trombonist, composer, and producer Delfeio Marsalis and the Uptown Jazz Orchestra. The theater hosted a special social hour for patrons to enjoy the show prior to the show. Temecula Presents performances included a sold-out show by The Long Run, which is an Eagles tribute on October 1st, and returning favorite Led Zeppelin, which is a Led Zeppelin tribute on October 2nd. Resident company Fine Arts Network Theater Company launched their 22-23 season with Roald Dahl's Matilda on the stage from October 8th to the 24th. Two theater alumni, producer and co-producer of the Barn Stage Company, Jeremy Lapp and Holly Hussman, were happily wed at the theater on October 29th. These two met back in 2011 when Jeremy directed a production of 13 at the musical and cast Holly's brother in the leading role, who also happened to be the theater's very first Tiny Tim in the 2005 opening season of A Christmas Carol. So it was a magical, beautiful wedding, a very appropriate place for their wedding, and it had a main stage, all the bells and whistles of a lap production, and the pre-wedding appetizers were hosted in the theater courtyard, and then the dinner, magical evening in the Lot on Main. So it was just a perfect venue for this couple. Lovely. Pictures were beautiful. The month of October featured other special performers, including the launch of the Temecula Presents Aloha series, award-winning slack key guitarist from Hawaii, I'm going to mess up the pronunciation on this, but Kawika Kahayapo, and Bobby Moderno from Mehaluha Music Productions continues to partner with Temecula Presents to bring these amazing Spirit of Aloha performances to the stage. The night was full of beautiful music and entertainment. And then next was a Taste of Sherry. Temecula presents the 15th annual Big Band Concert on the 31st. It's the launch of the Big Band series with Temecula's favorite singing sensation, Sherry Williams. We all love Sherry. Accompanied by Jeff Stover's orchestra with Keith Drost on piano and conductor John Rodby. The orchestration of the big band had audience members wanting more. The performance included a collection of swinging songs and introduced a new music from Sherry's upcoming CD. We look forward to Sherry Williams' CD release event on Thursday, December 2nd at the Jazz at the Merc. At the Merc, Showtime at the Merc featured a total of 10 shows, including jazz, country, speakeasy, classics, stand-up comedy, and continues to provide our wonderful patrons with a multitude of entertainment options with several sold-out performances. Country Live at the Merc on October 2nd featured Charlene Howell, an award-winning singer-songwriter and self-taught guitarist. Jazz at the Merc featured North Atlantic Jazz Alliance with Marcus Berger, who is an internationally renowned concert pianist, recording artist, former record label executive, and educator. The jazz quartet featured Marcus Berger on the piano, Marshall Hawkins on bass, James Linehan on trumpet, and Paul Beach on drums. The ensemble entertained our patrons with their riveting jazz combinations. Speakeasy at the Merc on October 9th launched their third month of the season with a sold-out performance. The show featured big band standards. The arrangements they played came from the Library of Bernie Bernard Orchestra, and they were joined by vocalist Rosalie Porter and the Second Hand Jazz Band. Classics at the Merc on October 10th performance featured the Art Trio, which included Linda Piat and Robbie Evans on violin and Amanda Devlin on cello. Resident companies and producers, Temecula Presents partnered with Sherry Berry Music and Empire Company to present two stand-up comedy performances on October 23rd, featuring headliner Jason Stewart, who's a longtime veteran of stand-up comedy and an actor. His talents and determination got him work in films and shows, including Kindergarten Cop, Murder, She Wrote, and The Drew Carey Show. Both of these performances were also sold out. Looking ahead to all the amazing shows in November, we are excited about Temecula Presents' first performance of the dance series Backhouse Dance on November 20th, and the Nutcracker Ballet presented by Inland Valley Classical Ballet Theater on the 26th through 28th. Now to the museum. We are very pleased to report that the museum hosted 1,368 patrons for the month of October, and this is excellent news for us since the very first time we've beat our 2019 attendance figures since COVID began. So we were pretty thrilled. And this is largely due to the Stitching California exhibit that we hosted, and we booked it specifically to coordinate with the Outdoor Quilt Show, which we knew would draw a lot of people. The strategy was successful. As the day of the quilt show, we had 177 people attend the museum, which is our largest Saturday in a long, long time, so we were thrilled. That exhibit came down at the end of the month, and then the Thrift Style exhibit was installed, and it will run through November 28th. Thrift Style explores the use of feed sacks in the 1920s, 30s, 40s to make clothing and other household objects, and illuminates how upcycling of these bags mutually benefited 20th century consumers and businesses alike. Museum special events also outperformed our 2019 numbers with 114 visitors for Second Saturday Greece, and we had Greek-inspired food by Espadin, music by Bob Bozanolos, who is of Greek heritage, and facts, crafts, and art lesson and activities. We're very pleased to report that the Temecula Valley Women's Club Arts and Culture Committee Chair visited the museum to present a check to the Temecula Valley Museum Incorporated nonprofit associated with the museum for $1,200 to purchase a new wireless tour guide walking system. So with that system, we'll be able to do socially distanced walking tours again, so we're very excited about that. And they also gave us $300 in gift cards that we can use to thank our volunteers for leading those tours. They were gifts received by Board President Bonnie Martlin, and they'll be purchasing that new system soon. Finally, we were very pleased to be part of the huge Halloween event. We were grateful that they included the museum and Sam Hicks Park in their planning this last year, and as a result, we not only trick-or-treated, had many guests enter the rotunda to trick-or-treat, but 82 of those people also went through the museum. So a great visibility venue for us. We were very pleased. So the mural that we unveiled in October was installed by Public Works. It's the 9th one of our series, and this time it celebrated National Hispanic Heritage Month, and it was created by Palomar College student Cheyenne Hernandez. On the 12th, Mayor Edwards, Councilmember Stewart, TCSD Commissioner Sizemore, thank you, and Ready Commissioner Pastorian all attended the mural unveiling to personally thank and graduate Cheyenne and her student artists, who ranged in age from about 6 to 12, for their work on creating this original mural. Cheyenne said the mural used bright colors to represent their culture, heritage, and passion that is alive within the Hispanic people, and the young contributors represented the various Hispanic nations with their colorful creations. In celebration of Native American Heritage Month, the museum will present a new student art mural tomorrow, so I hope you all can join us. The mural was created by Pechanga I'm going to try to pronounce this, Chamaquilawish School, and that means our future in the Pechanga language, led by Principal Andrew Mizell and third grade teacher Amalika Jackson. The students' vision was to present a collection of ideas and concepts that represent the Payokawichom, which is their true name for themselves, which means the people of the West or the Westerners. And so their mural celebrates that and will be officially unveiled tomorrow, and we hope you'll all attend, 3 o'clock. Again, a reminder of the Ralph Love, we mentioned that at the beginning, art competition reception. We're very pleased that this year, this is our 14th year doing this annual Ralph Love competition, and this was our largest year ever with 29 artists participating, submitting almost 60 pieces of work. So it was a lot of work to judge it, but it shows there's a lot of artists in Temecula who want to get involved, and we're very thrilled with that. We're also preparing for second Saturday in November, and we'll be highlighting Switzerland. And then finally, after Thrift Style leaves, we'll be installing Small Wonders, which is an exhibit that features gigantic, beautiful photography of bugs, insects. And that will be on display December 3rd through January 9th. I guess that's it. I thought I was missing a page, but finally, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, end this report with an acknowledgement. I know you're aware that we lost a staff member, Steve Williamson, who passed away in September, but I wanted to acknowledge him here because he was honored at the Chapel of Memories by Assistant City Manager Kevin Hawkins, Assistant City Community Services Superintendent Bea Barnett, most of the museum staff members past and present, and Public Works staff member Mario Manuz. The Public Works also assisted us by making sure the chapel was in tip-top shape, and we borrowed chairs from Rashan Claremont at the TCC. So it was a true Temecula team effort to honor one of our own, and it was a proper send-off. So this concludes our report, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Tracy. Great report, Commissioner.
To go first again. Thank you. Tracy, the extensive information, and it's just great to hear, from Cassandra too, that it sounds back to normal, and exceeding normal in many cases.
It feels that way.
Yeah, but to hear the theater and the Merc, back and rolling, all the programs up and going, it's just spectacular. I always like to, you mentioned 2 second Saturdays, so we had Greece and Switzerland coming up, but that's something, and then the advancement of peoples in those murals too, the different cultures in those murals consistently with themes that are going on in the calendar. We'd really like to see us accelerate our exposure to multiple cultures and, maybe expand that second Saturday to the outdoors somewhat. We'd like to have some discussions about that, getting those festivals out into the parks and so forth. But pretty amazing. Thank you, Tracy. And I want to just revert back to Cassandra's report just real quick to ask Mike a question. about the hot team. It just appears that there's, on the weekly reports and so forth, and then at our reports at commission, that it's kind of a lot of, you're on a streak of positive reporting. And I know that was, it's sometimes, you try to hold back on that because it was causing more people to want to come to Temecula for services. But is that just a result of the good work that's been going on, that we're now kind of seeing the end work of that paying off?
Sure, and some months are better than others, obviously. Actually, Swag, to their credit, who we wouldn't be anywhere near what we are without them. They internally weren't pleased with some things and made some changes to their staffing down here. So I do appreciate them, looking at the numbers and seeing where they can make some adjustments to improve services. So. Every client, and it's a different scenario, different circumstance they're in. So a lot of this is just built relationships that have been built. And sometimes we're fortunate to get quite a few off the street in 1 month. Sometimes it may just be a couple. But every week we go through a priority list of clients and update the entire team on what's the next step, what's some different strategies we can do. And the hot team plays a huge part of that as well, So it's a lot of our longtime homeless clients is what we've been successful with. There's a lot of newer ones that, that we may be able to exit pretty quickly as well, but we've really put a focus on a lot of the chronic long-term homeless. And we've seen a lot of success with those that have been homeless for 10 plus years out here. So again, if it weren't for Swag and the hot team, those numbers wouldn't be anywhere near what they are. So they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Vice Chair.
Yes, thank you so much for your report, Tracy. There's so much going on in the arts and culture of Temecula. It's great to see so many sold-out performances. That's really great to see. Just wanted to report, I was at Art at the Walls to see, I know Megan Miller outside of her exhibit, and it was really great to see her art up on the wall. And she has an amazing ability to paint eyes. The eyes on these animals that she painted, you would have thought they were standing flesh and blood in front of you. They just looked so realistic. And she had stories that she would tell us about the animals. One of the rhinos, I love this picture of a rhino she had painted, and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, well, that rhino was killed by poachers. And she told the story, but she chose to preserve, so that the rhino's death wasn't in vain. To paint it, to tell its story, and then to fundraise through the sale of it. It was beautiful to hear. I really enjoyed the exhibit. The plein air competition, wow. There were a lot of paintings, a lot of artwork, a lot that were just so realistic of Temecula. I could look at some of them and go, oh, I know where that's at. Some of them I had to kind of go, okay, I think I know where that's where you're painting. And there was one, it was the very last one I saw, and it made me laugh out loud. It cracked me up. And I'm looking forward to seeing which one won here on Friday. That'll be great. I also attended the COVID Remembrance that was listed on there, and that was just really, it was very moving to be at, and I was so proud of our mayor and Councilmember Schwenk, who greeted each family and hugged them. You could just see their love for the residents in our city just pouring out of them. And I was just very, very proud of our mayor that night and the care that she gave in her comments to each family that came up to collect the flag of their loved one. So that would be all I have to say.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And Tracy, appreciate the report. And, you'd mentioned Mr. Williamson, and I know we were surprised by that in September, and we had actually I'd looked back on my notes, and we had adjourned in memory, of him. But I know, he meant a lot to the team, and so appreciate that. So the Rod Run this weekend, 450 cars. I know we had to do it a little bit differently because of all the, outdoor dining and things like that. But overall, and unfortunately, this is the first year I wasn't able to make it. But how are we feeling about the next one?
I think we're feeling good. It's crazy when we were talking to all the participants because we do check-in so that all the participants can come and get their goodie bag and the placard with their space number. So it's crazy to be like, all right, registration's going to open in January. We'll be back to this in 6 months. So
Right.
it went well, and it was exciting. Like all the participants, we talked to them on the phone about Rod Run. So then seeing them in person, it's almost like seeing all our old friends again, because it's like, oh, Craig, I remember you, or Bob, I've talked to you on the phone. We would get that a lot. So it was nice to see the participants again, and we had a really good crowd of people. Everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. A lot of our team was there at the event, so they can say the same thing. So I think we made it work with the expanded dining, all the cars. We filled as many spaces as we could. Every now and then we'll have a few no-shows, and I blame it on their car probably wasn't working that morning. But I think we'll be able to continue to make it work, even if the outdoor dining continues through the spring, because our plan is to host the next show the last weekend of April. So we'll open up registration in January, and I'm guessing it'll be about the same amount of cars that we'll be able to allow.
That's great. It's good to hear. And probably a lot of people don't realize, but people come from far away to attend this particular car show. So I know I talked to a guy a couple of years ago who was out here from Michigan, and I thought, wow. I mean, I know my dad used to have a hot rod, and he would bring it up from San Diego, years ago, but Michigan, wow.
Yeah, I don't think we've had anyone that far. I know a couple years back, I feel like we had maybe some people in like Alaska who would come down. This year, Canada, we had some, because I remember it was always tricky to send them their mailer. You'd have to get all the postal codes correct. So this year, we did have people who were coming more from like Northern California, but most of them, I think this year, were California-based, which makes it easier getting in. But I'm sure next year we'll probably have some more out-of-state entries coming.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you for the reports. And let's see. I guess we can move ahead to our consent calendar. So I'll go ahead and read the disclaimer here that all matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine, and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the Community Services Commission request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. We have one item on the consent calendar, and that is to approve the action minutes of October 11, 2021, and I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Audi and a second from Vice Chair Sizemore. I will take a roll call vote, but I'd like to kindly ask Commissioner Audi to abstain due to his prior absence in last month's meeting. So this will be a quick one. Vice Chair Sizemore?
Approve.
Chairperson Levine?
I approve.
All right, so the motion is approved 2-0 with Commissioner Audi abstaining and Commissioner Krastevsky absent this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. And now we have one business item, and that is to receive an update on the Quality of Life Master Plan and a Public Engagement Plan. Mr. Matt Peters. Welcome, Matt.
Good evening, Commissioners. So I'm Matt Peters with the Planning Department. I'm the project manager on the Quality of Life Master Plan update, and I'm visiting each of the boards and commissions just to give a status update and then get some feedback on our public engagement plan. So we're updating the QLMP, or the Quality of Life Master Plan, as the foundation for the general plan. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the 6 core values, but they're identified in the boxes there, and they include a healthy and livable city, economic prosperity, a safe and prepared community, a sustainable city, transportation, mobility, and connectivity, and an accountable and responsive city government. And the idea is to use the QLMP as the foundation and the organizing element, and then when we move on to updating the general plan, those 9 state-mandated elements, will slot those underneath the core values as part of the organization of our general plan update. This graphic, I'm not going to go into all the detail on this thing, but what we've done is we're anticipating the general plan update process to take about 5 years, and we're breaking it down into 4 different phases. And actually, phase 1 was just completed in October last month. We took the public safety element and the housing element, and previous to that, we had updated our traffic impact analysis guidelines to include a methodology for measuring CEQA impacts for vehicle miles traveled as opposed to level of service. And we are moving into phase 2, which the major work task in phase 2 is the Quality of Life Master Plan update. When we finish that, we'll move into phase 3, which will include a fiscal land use study, which we're anticipating some major changes with COVID, people working from home, less demand for, I guess, office and retail, and more demand for housing, and it seems like industrial is picking up as well. So that fiscal land use study was updated probably 3 to 4 years ago, and we just really think it needs to be updated as we move into the general plan update. And then phase 4 is the general plan update and the EIR, and we expect that to take 2 to 3 years. That's the major work task. As far as the QLMP update goes, we established a Blue Ribbon Committee, and that BRC, or the Blue Ribbon Committee, was appointed by the City Council on April 27th of this year, and it includes the General Plan Update Subcommittee, Mayor Edwards and Mayor Pro Tem Ron, and then 1 rep from each commission and board, and 16 at-large members. And you're well represented here. Commissioner Sizemore is the Community Services rep, and then Commissioner Adi is an at-large member representing Bike Temecula Valley and the BTV Coalition. And then with that, without naming all of the people on the BRC, their interests are identified here. We have Bike Temecula Valley Coalition, representatives from the Special Needs Community, Interfaith Council, the School District, MSJC, Temecula Valley Hospital, VTV in the Chamber, Camp Pendleton, local businesses, Habitat for Humanity, and SWAG. So there's good representation and a variety of interests on the BRC. We've had 2 meetings so far. Our first meeting was in August. That was really a meet and greet, introductions, talking about some of the background and the survey results that were done, and then talking about future trends and drivers of change that we should consider in the update. And then our second meeting was in October, and we went over 2 of the 6 core values. And then our next meeting is next week, Thursday, the 18th, and we'll be going over 3 of the core values at that meeting. We've branded the Quality of Life Master Plan update, that logo in the center. We worked with our consultant. You can see the city bell tower incorporated in, and kind of that stamp concept. As you follow social media, you'll see that coming up more and more. And we have a website dedicated to the update, temeculaca.gov/QLMP. On that webpage, we have the QLMP document. All of the meetings are taped and the videos can be watched there. We have the community surveys results, a feedback button. Members of the community can sign up for email notifications. And then we have a questionnaire that's coming soon. And actually, we're anticipating finalizing the questionnaire this weekend, and we are going to have a pop-up event at the farmer's market on Saturday. So myself, another staff member, and our consultants will be at the farmer's market, and just hoping to gather input from the community at that event. And we have 4 community engagement goals, the first being to facilitate a community-driven approach to update the QLMP. We want to solicit input from stakeholders across age groups, cultures, and interests. We want to focus on connecting with hard-to-reach groups that have not traditionally participated in the planning process. And then finally, we want a comprehensive and transparent planning process. All the meetings are open to the public. All the meetings can be viewed. We're going to have a very robust public participation process. And our first phase, I talked about the branding and the website. We're going to do an informational video and social media posts, a community questionnaire. I mentioned the farmers market pop-up event. There will be others, so I'll be reaching out to TCSD to find out what community events we can piggyback on. And then a couple of community workshops. We'll do one virtual. Those have proven to be successful through COVID. For people who work, they can participate via Zoom, and we can get their feedback if they don't want to come or they're not comfortable attending in person. And then we'll have another in-person workshop. We're doing all of the commission and board presentations just to keep everyone updated. And then we're going to do a high school curriculum module. So some of the feedback we got at the first BRC meeting was we need to reach out to youth, particularly high school students. So we're going to be talking to the youth and government teachers at TVUSD and charter schools and some of the private schools to find out what can work for them to give an assignment to the students so that they get something out of that process, and then we can report back to the BRC and get some of that feedback into the QLMP update. And then I guess that concludes my presentation. At this time, I'd be happy to take any questions. If you have any comments, suggestions, anything I can bring back to the BRC, I'd be happy to do that.
I just appreciate being on there representing active transportation, and you know, the meetings have been outstanding, well run, and I think we're going to have an amazing plan when we're done. Thanks for all your work, Matt.
Appreciate it. And just so you know, the next meeting, while it's going to be from 6 to 9, and we're going to go over 3 of the core values, we are planning more of a roundtable, interactive process. So it'll be a little different at this meeting. We're also going to provide dinner, so you should try to come a little early.
Yes, I do. I did want to ask a question on the virtual workshops. It's very important to me that we're getting the opinion of that negative demographic in that 20 to 29 age group. And because I have children in that age group that are away at college, I'm very glad to see that you're going to be offering virtual workshops, because I'm reaching out to my kids and their friends away at college, trying to get them to participate in that, because I want their opinion. I want them to come back to Temecula after college. So let's make this kind of Temecula that they want to come back to. Do we have a time frame on when you think these workshops are going to be happening?
We're working with the consultants on that. We're thinking if we can squeeze it in before the end of the year, we may try to do that, but it will probably end up being in January or February.
Okay. And then the in-person workshops. I want to get these high schoolers, want to get their opinions, and I'm real involved with some youth organizations. Is the public workshop something that you think a high schooler could participate in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And what we'll do is when we have a date set for that, we'll inform the Blue Ribbon Committee, and you can reach out to whoever you want to reach out to and tell them to show up to the workshop.
I'm teaching a citizenship in the community merit badge class this early part of 2022. This
Be
If you guys-
perfect for them to
Awesome.
attend.
This
Yeah.
would be perfect for them to attend. Awesome. Thank you.
Matt, appreciate the update. I liked, of course, reaching out to the youth through TVUSD and some of the other organizations. I think it's, to your point, it's important to engage them, let them know kind of what's out there and how they can positively, impact the future as well. I have a question, and I'm curious more than anything, but the quality of life master plan, was that something, is that typical of larger emerging cities? Is it something that Temecula embarked upon, or how do we stack up against other cities?
So my understanding as to how this document came to be was it had started out as an economic development type activity, focusing on tourism and business. And then as they began working through the Blue Ribbon Committee, it evolved into this document. And the intent was, if you had a visitor to Temecula, didn't know anything, any background on the community, they could pick this up as kind of a coffee table book. What is Temecula all about? What are the core values? What are they trying to accomplish? And that's my understanding of how this document came to be. It's very unique, and I think it's great. And in particular, how the city uses it. Annually we prepare a capital improvement project or capital improvement plan, and then we have our annual operating budget. And for anything to get in the budget, if a staff member proposes it or a council member proposes it, they have to identify how it's consistent with our core value and how it accomplishes the metrics that are in that document. So it's very unique. It's proven to be very successful. The reason we're updating it is in this document, there's a pull-out page that had identified, of course I won't be able to find it right now, but projects that we wanted to accomplish over the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. And if you take a look at that, we've crossed off 3/4 of the projects on that. So that's why when we were meeting with the General Plan Update Subcommittee, talking about the general plan, immediately the Quality of Life Master Plan came up, and they directed us, let's update that first, and then have the general plan come behind it. So I hope that answers your question, but
No, it
I
does.
think it's very unique, and I think it's great that we have it.
No, absolutely, and I really, really appreciate the context, especially, we have an audience tonight. But I think, it does, the fact that you provided that context, that it's sort of, these are our values, this is how we base everything. And when you look at it, it aligns, it makes sense. And periodically, we're going through that exercise of, are we still traveling along this path? Has anything new changed? And you had mentioned, looking at, at one point we probably thought we were going to have a lot more, businesses and things like that. And now people are working from home, and how does that change things? And so, yeah, it's if it is a unique document, it's pretty masterful. Mm-hmm. And so, just want to say thank you for your work on it.
Appreciate it. The beauty's in the simplicity of this document.
And that's the other thing too, right? It's not complicated. It makes sense. And when you look at the projects, it's, oh yeah, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if I understood it correctly, at our first Blue Ribbon Committee meeting when they explained it, every city has a general plan, but Temecula is very unique in that we have this quality of life master plan. And it's really the QLMP that drives what our general plan is going to be. So it's unique for our city.
Yeah, I know my dad was a small-time developer back in the day, and he would have, a map of the general plan of the city, up on the wall in his office, and he would say, oh, here's what it's going to look like in 1990, and here's what it's going to look like in 2000. And so I always kind of thought that a QLMP was a building block of that, but apparently we're the only ones that are thinking about that, so.
There's a few that are copying us.
Well, of course there are. We're innovators here in Temecula.
We try.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Anything else? No? All right, so I understand this is a receive and file, and I think you can consider it received, and we will file it as appropriate. Mike, what do you have for us tonight in our director's report?
Well, Commissioners, as you know, I'm filling in for Eric on this portion tonight. So just wanted to really thank you, the entire Commissioners, for judging the Halloween Carnival, and really just your continued support and involvement in all of our events. As you know, it's a busy time of year for our special events team, so I just really wanted to give a shout out to all of them. That includes Dawn and Tracy Quartz and Willa and Mike Morey for all the great work they're doing right now. And on that note, we do have a couple big events coming up to place on your calendar, which they're probably already on it. Friday, December 3rd, it will be the return of Santa's Electric Light Parade, so we're excited for that. On Saturday, December 18th, we'll have a new event this year, Chilled in the Park at Ronald Reagan Sports Park. This event will mirror 4th of July extravaganza, but with a winter theme. We'll have fireworks, bands, fun zone, and vendors. And Chair Levine, you had mentioned kind of feeling like normal, and I think the community's seeing that, feeling the same way, and if these last couple events have been any indication, they're going to be as busy as ever, so it should be a very fun time for the crowd and the community with the events. Then lastly, just as a reminder, the December 6th commission meeting, typically that's just a real quick one. So like in typical fashion, we'll just do a roll call, approve action minutes, and then head out for the holiday light tour. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mike. I think we would all agree that you filled in admirably. Thank you. Commissioner reports. We will start, Commissioner Adi. Anything tonight?
Just a couple of things that have already been mentioned. You know, I totally was impressed with the Halloween Carnival. Because of the pandemic, I haven't been included in that, so I was only able to hear stories about how the commission judged the costume contest. And I'm regretful that I didn't ask my family to come, because it was just a super night. So really appreciated that. It was really fun, and I, of course, Commissioner Emeritus Borgeson, I was doing a chore with him that day, and he mentioned that, oh yeah, that's the night we dress up and judge the contest. So I did not have a costume, but next year, look out. If I'm fortunate enough to be back on the commission. That, and then also, we didn't talk about it tonight, but we've got the symphony coming up on Thursday. Looking forward to that for Veterans Day, the Veterans Day celebration. Some outdoor music and honoring our vets and actually active duty. So looking forward to that special night. Appreciate all the work that staff has done on that. Thanks for all your reports tonight and all your great work as always. Just amazing things happening in this department.
All right, Vice Chair.
I've talked a lot already. There's so much wonderful going on. I'm incredibly impressed. Every event that I go to, the logistics and just it's a fine-oiled machine, and it's amazing to see our special events team in action. I'm looking. I've had attended a lot of great events in October, and it looks like I'll be doing a lot in November and December. We'll be back on the 11th here for our Veterans Day program out in front of City Hall. And I do agree it was a wonderful venue for our carnival, our Halloween carnival. The stage, the stage, it just worked that we had a stage for the contest. Just the setting just really complemented it. It had that small town feeling. I know we've been trying to identify that in the Blue Ribbon Committee. What is this small town feel? How do we define it? It sure felt like it's at that carnival. It just had that small town feeling. I loved it. So looking forward to doing more events there. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Yeah, you guys hit it on the head. I mean, the having the carnival right here in the heart of the city was phenomenal. You could see even the museum was able to, you know, connect with that. And how cool is that, Tracy, right?
Tracy, did we have any families playing at the park at the Halloween Carnival?
We had many
It was
families
full.
playing at the park. They had a maze. I don't know what, maybe Tracy can talk about it.
Yeah. So commissioners, you didn't get a chance to see everything else that was going on in Old Town. So our goal was to since we were bringing it to the Civic Center, we wanted to encourage participation all throughout Old Town. So we had several merchants who would let us know they were going to be passing out candy. So we had like different businesses doing a trick-or-treating. We had our first responders doing a trunk-or-treat in front of the police substation and down at Fire Station 12. All leading up to Sam Hicks Monument Park, we had an inflatable maze that was Halloween-themed for all the kids to go through. We had a balloon artist and a trackless train ride. So our goal was, if we're bringing it to Old Town, we want everyone to be able to experience Old Town. So we had a little map that we would hand out to participants as they came up, and some of us were like, oh, I was already down at Sam Hicks, and they made their way down. So it was just nice having different activities all along Mercedes. So that's why we definitely had an increase in numbers. But I had heard from, I didn't get a chance to go down to the park, but I had heard from our staff down there that the park was full of participants. So
Oh, that is great. That's great. And is the fence, are we accomplishing our goals?
I think so. I think the fence made a difference because it felt protected and safe for families to have. You know, kids were playing on the playground. The fact that 82 people came inside the museum is huge. Typically, you get a few who wander through.
Especially at a Halloween carnival.
Exactly. So they were having a great time. The kids were playing. There was a train that went around as well. And it just, to me, it was exactly what Old Town should be.
vision
And
is.
it's helping to bring Sam Hicks alive. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the fence, I think, at the last meeting, and just, they did a phenomenal job with it. You know, it's like I drove by and I was like, oh, wait.
Kudos to Stacy Fox for that. Do you want to talk about that? It's beautiful. He did a great job.
Great job, Stacy. Yeah, so Carnival was great. You know, it's always great to see, you know, and the judging part is always so hard, right? Because you can't, you know, thankfully we don't have a cutest, you know, category, right? Because all the kids are cute. And I know we agonize, right? Because sometimes I mean, chances are if you have a store-bought costume, you're probably not going to win. But we have so many people that had, you know, that really put a lot of time and effort into their costumes. You know, the one that kind of stood out for me was, well, there were a couple, but, you know, the alien abduction. Because I couldn't tell at first, like, was it a jellyfish? You know, because it was translucent a little bit and lit up. And then it was like, oh, nope, there's an alien thing on there. The Rosie the Riveter, you know. The trash truck, yeah, that was
so cute.
There's just so many. So people, I think the public just doesn't realize like how hard that is sometimes.
Well, and I really appreciate, I felt like we came to consensus very easy. We didn't really have to fight too much.
No, we really didn't. I mean, everybody sort of had their list and.
Great
you know,
minds think alike.
Yeah.
There were many times I was prepared to come up with an extra prize, especially for the group costume contest. I was like, if I need to tell Cassandra, it's okay if they have a second choice, because we were all waiting to see who you're going to choose. So we always, in the back of our minds, we're prepared.
I think that would be, if I had a suggestion for next year, having another prize in the group
honorable
category.
mentions,
Because I was on the one end, so I kind of got questioned by some participants. How come on the other, ones you had multiple? You only are giving one away for the group? So.
But this year, I would say there were many more group costumes, more than I could remember, even in 2019, and some really good ones. I mean, there is one family that always hand makes everything that they do, and theirs was great. But the son made one.
Oh, my goodness.
That was like almost an event,
Yeah.
right? You know, where
I loved it. He held the sun up and then, boop,
the mom gets
the
up
number
there
went
with the
up.
baby, and you're
Yes.
like, okay, I'm not sure what's happening here, and then the guy's like, boom. So
It was, yeah.
anyway, great event. You guys did a wonderful job. Once again, just happy to be part of it. State of the City, we didn't talk too much about that. I know it's normally, a council event, but it was great to see all of you, there, and great to see what's coming up, with the city. I'm super excited about a lot of the public works stuff that's happening, as I drove here in the traffic, and I live like one exit away. And that was heading the opposite way, so anyway, appreciate it. Thank you all, and we won't belabor this. We'll just move to adjourn to our meeting on December 13th at 6 p.m. Is it the 13th?
So the protocol is that our regular scheduled meeting would be December 13th, so we will need to have a cancellation notice so that we
Okay.
can have our special meeting on December 6th. So I was going to mention, I'll be in touch with everyone regarding the details, but yes, that's not a typo, just our protocol for commission.
Thank you. So yes, we'll adjourn to the December 13th meeting, TBD. We stand adjourned.